Check our trims and make sure they're set in the green. Trims really matter in this airplane because it's got a huge center of gravity range.
It was humbling and awesome to get the rockstar treatment being picked up in a PC-12 to attend an open house and product launch event at Sporty's. So that's the classic Sporty's panel poster. I grew up with the 172 that had that classic Sporty's view, so it's awesome to be here. I'm gonna go do a selfie in that spot right now. So there it is, this famous background for the panel posters at Sporty's. I'm in the spot. It's the start of the summer in Toronto, and flying and production season is in full swing. We're on the way to another adventure, and for this one I've got my good friend and fellow aviation YouTuber JP on board. He recently flew a 210 around the world and created some awesome content doing it. Anyway, if you've been shopping as a pilot over the past 20 years, you've probably bought something from Sporty's. They're basically the Walmart of aviation. And today, John from Sporty's is picking us up in his PC-12 to attend an event there.
So apparently this is the shortest scheduled ferry in the world. Literally from here to there. That's all we're doing.
We got to the FBO just in time to see John pulling up and then got right into briefing. All right, man. So yeah, thanks for coming out to get me.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cool.
This is one of my favorite airports actually in the whole world. My college roommate's from Toronto, so I used to fly up here all the time visiting him, and I think it's really one of the best 5 or 6 airports in the whole world. So
it is a neat approach. Yeah, I've got some early stuff on my channel when I do night circuits flying into here. It's an amazing airport to fly at night. Okay, so I just didn't know what the route was going to be, so I just did this to pack ForeFlight at home. That's using my trick. I just get a route and then say pack, and then it gets me everything, and then we can amend the plan as needed, but at least it's on board with no connection, right?
We're going down to Burke Lakefront there in Cleveland, and you know my ForeFlight routine is just to let ATC tell you what they're going to give us instead of trying to guess. So I use their route advisor, and it's going to tell you, look at that. Twice today, the turboprop was cleared on this route, which we're turboprop. So now we got that in there, and it's YQO, which is big VOR, Southern Ontario here that they always take you in and out, and then Dolphin and Intersection. They're over Lake Erie, and then into Burke Lakefront.
So with the briefing complete, I was excited to get my first close look at a Pilatus PC-12. I've heard a lot of great things about these airplanes over the years, and I was excited to get to fly in one. I've been lucky to have a lot of experiences flying different types of airplanes, and no doubt this one reminded me of the TBM 850.
They're kind of cousins. TBM is a sports car, PC-12 is the SUV.
Okay.
So TBM is smaller but faster. Pilatus is big and brawny but a little bit slower. So we cruise about 255 knots, whereas a TBM is 280 to 340, kind of depending on the model. It's kind of like TBM, great short field performance and everything. We landed here in about 800 feet today with that headwind, so.
With the exterior checks and gawking out of the way, I climbed up the ladder and took my spot in the right seat of the PC-12.
Here comes the main battery. Got our nav and strobe lights on. No prop lever in this airplane. It's always 1700 RPM, which is kind of nice for workload. So all clear on your side, nobody walking around. All right, we have minimum 24 volts, so we'll get a good start. Looking for 13.5% NG. Stable. Typical stuff, we're filed IFR. We probably won't get much above 16,000 on the way down, maybe 18,000. It'll probably keep us about there. Longer trips, we like to cruise in the mid-20s. We came up here at 25,000, but 15, 16,000 of these shorter ones is just fine.
Today is a bit of a test day for us as well. We'll be trying out the new ultra lightweight Bose ProFlight in-ear headsets. Yeah, so part of the mission on this one too is to try out that new Bose headset. I think this is the perfect airplane to try it. It's like noisy-ish, but not like a piston.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. It's probably not going to be a headset for Cirrus or something that's really screaming along at high RPM, but you definitely want a noise-reducing headset in this airplane because it's turboprop. It's louder than a jet, so I'm excited to try it.
Wow, yeah, the noise canceling is pretty good. Check 1, 2, you got me? 1, 2, 3, you got me. Flaps are at 15, so we're going to do a shaker-pusher test. There's a stick shaker pusher system on this, which is pretty unique for a turboprop. Manage pairs devices. Okay, so see if
go to Bluetooth.
Go to Bluetooth and see if
Caution, bird activity at the airport.
They're working? Yep. All right, great. I think what we have in there, so you know, you can just go up there and grab the flight stream and pull it down, pull the route down. All right, the autopilot's tested, the shaker pusher is tested, oil temperature and pressure are green, circuit breakers are all in on my side, in fact they're all in on your side. Yep. Yes, our pressurization, that's on, temperature set, have our fans turned on low, fuel quantity is good, we have a lot. Pressurization I'll set for now to 19, we'll see what we get, we set 1,000 above what we're going to go to, I'm expecting 18,000, so. Check our trims and make sure they're set in the green. Trims really matter in this airplane because it's got a huge center of gravity range, so you really want to make sure that A, your trims work, and B, they're set in the green, otherwise you can get some wild control forces. So. Steady ground, 327 Juliet Zulu, IFR, Burke Lakefront, we have information, Foxtrot.
November 327 Juliet Whiskey, city ground, you're cleared to Kilo, Bravo, Kilo, Lima via the Oakville 2 departure, then the Erie transition, then Juliet Foxtrot November, Victor 14, and then Zyder Zulu India Tango Echo Romeo, depart runway 08, squawk 0550.
It was cool to see John using the iPad in his usual workflow, and he said the Apple Pencil also works really well as opposed to a finger.
But of course that's not what we filed, so. Alright, Oakville 2 is really just a minimum climb gradient, which we can do. Maintain 3,000 feet, so I'll set that as our top altitude. We're going to climb runway heading.
So you find it easier to do it there, send it back to the iPad?
You know, it depends. If you're doing arrivals and departures, I like to do it there. If you're doing a lot of Airways stuff, I like it on the iPad a lot. And load, so that's really nice there. And now we can come down onto the iPad.
So that just amended?
Yep, there you go. So now you've got it in there. Save you a lot of
that's pretty cool.
Button pushing. We're all synced up. Alright, let's taxi.
That's pretty tight in here,
It's really tight in here. We're going to heat up that tire a little bit.
I did a lot of my initial training at this airport.
So you've been here?
Oh yeah.
Alright, we'll check our flight controls here. Watch your knee. Flight controls are free, flight instruments are good. Battery's below 15, which means we would have enough to put the wheels down if the engine quit right after takeoff. And our briefing, so it's VFR, we're going to take off on runway 8. If anything happens below 1,300 feet, we're going to take it more or less straight ahead. Anything above 1,300 feet, I'm going to make a right turn and come back to the runway. All right, any questions from your end?
Nope, good.
327 Juliet Zulu, ready, runway 08.
November 327 Juliet Whiskey City Tower, standby 1 to land.
Holding short, 08, 7 Juliet Zulu.
One of the earliest videos I did on my channel was departing runway 08 with a friend of mine that was afraid of flying, and that flight didn't go as planned.
Things rattle a little bit in these planes. It's usually just the interior, so don't worry about the rattles.
Yeah, it's not going to fall apart.
Most likely it won't, no.
I would say most likely.
Sorry.
7 Juliet Zulu, contact Toronto Center, airborne on 133.4, wind 09017, gusting 23, cleared takeoff, runway 08.
133.4 and clear for takeoff, runway 08, 7 Juliet Zulu. Speed's alive, there's 60 knots. Engines are green, there's 80 knots.
So it was pretty surreal to be departing runway 08 at my old home base at the Toronto Island Airport in a PC-12 that came to get me, all because of this YouTube channel that I started just to share some videos about my love of flying.
327 Juliet Zulu, Toronto Center, good day, you're identified, maintain 3,000.
3,000, 7 Juliet Zulu. Alright, heading 090 and 3,000, so we have 1,000 to go, 2 for 3. Gears up, flaps are up, the lights are turned out, yaw damp is engaged, the power has been reduced, the de-ice is not required. Sorry, after takeoff is complete.
7 Juliet Zulu, flighting 150, climb 4,000.
Heading 150 up to 4,000, 7 Juliet Zulu.
Ed, you're on autopilot, but you fly with your hands on it just because we're low? Or?
No, I'm on flight director.
Okay.
So I'm hand flying it with the flight director helping to guide me. And we get up above about 6,000 here, we'll put the autopilot on.
Okay.
I like to hand fly it a little bit, keep the feel for it, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Juliet Zulu, contact departure 128.8, good day.
128.8, 7 Juliet Zulu, song. Departure, November 327 Juliet Zulu, heading 240, 4,000.
327 Juliet Zulu, climb to 7,000.
7,000, 7 Juliet Zulu. Now the autopilot's engaged. Climb up here, we can do we're going to level out soon, but we can do a cruise climb at about 150 knots, so I like to pull it to 150 knots.
Juliet Zulu, proceed direct to the Oakville intersection.
Direct Oakville intersection, 7 Juliet Zulu.
How new is the flight stream? That's within 2 years?
Continue left.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, yeah.
I cannot believe.
Isn't that great?
It's friggin' awesome.
Especially, you know, we fly 2 pilots most of the time, so it's just the co-pilot does it, and then bam, I've got it. Yeah. There's nothing more to do. So we're leveling at 7,000 here, direct to Oakville.
How much time you got in this thing now?
Like over 1,000 hours, I think, so. Best airplane I've ever flown. I mean, I don't work for Pilatus, but it does so much. I've done a couple West Coast non-stops, did Las Vegas to Cincinnati non-stop, you know, 5 hours and 40 minutes.
Turn left, direct Epkin.
Just got all kinds of fuel. Toronto, November 327 Juliet Zulu, leveling 8,000.
Number 327 Juliet Zulu, Toronto Center, climb to 16,000. The onward altimeter Hamilton 3032.
16,000 and 3032, 7 Juliet Zulu.
7 Juliet Zulu, roger, and you can go directly to Burke Lakefront.
Direct Burke Lakefront, thank you, 7 Juliet Zulu. There's Burke, we're going to go direct. You're going to have that on your iPad magically.
Boom. That's awesome.
It's great, especially like back there where you've got not a complicated, but there's enough of a departure there with fly heading until a point and then fly heading. And that's so smart about putting it kind of to suspend that instead of trying to put all that in here, just load the departure here and everything's in sync. It saves so much time, I think.
And confusion.
John is quite literally an expert on flying with the iPad. He's the lead writer for iPad Pilot News. It's a really awesome column.
I've started the last 3 or 4 years, you know, I use ForeFlight logbook for everything, and I call it my journal now, not my logbook, because I take screenshots of weather I fly through, I'll add pictures of what it looked like. Why just log time when you can log kind of lessons and the experience of it?
I want to start using the ForeFlight logbook that way, because it's true that my videos and my projects are that. I used to always write a little document, like a paragraph or a few paragraphs of digital text file with every flight. One of my early instructors had me do that from the very beginning. He's like, the logbook is useless if you actually need to use it for any type of progress. It's good for keeping track of hours for the government, but not for you.
I'm lucky enough, I learned to fly in the kind of mid-90s, and so I had just enough flying with no GPS, you know, no iPad stuff that I still appreciate it, because it's still partially magic to me, all this stuff. Beautiful day up here, though.
Oh, yeah.
Going through 10,000, we'll do our 10,000 foot check. Pressurization is set, and the differential is pumping up, so that means the pressurization is working. Oxygen, we don't need to turn that on. Recognition lights I can turn off. Inertial separator I'll close. And our heat-cool fan will make sure our passengers are comfortable. I'm a big fan of the flow check in this airplane. Jumping around between airplanes, that's sort of my catch-all, you know, just start this side and work your way all the way across.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm sure the same thing works in a T6, right?
There's a altimeter in Hamilton 3032. 3032, thank you.
So you start with the flow check and then check it with the...
Yeah, and you come back and make sure you've covered it. I start here and just make sure all the circuit breakers are in. And then in this airplane, everything's really laid out kind of by system. So you have your ignition and fuel stuff here, which is basically always an auto. So just make sure those are still in auto. Like to make sure the fans are on, so these overhead fans are blowing. These are all lights. So out of 10,000, we leave on the nav and strobe and beacon, but we turn off everything else. Then this is the de-ice panel. So we leave probes and windshields on at all times in this airplane. So probes meaning angle of attack, sensors, and pitot. Wheels up, and then I'll come up here and just make sure that my autopilot is engaged like I think it is. My yaw damper is engaged. Altitude I have at 16,000 and it's armed. So that's my flight profile. I'm doing what I want to be doing there. And then engine, you know, make sure everything's good here, everything's in the green. Then just come down to our batteries, engine oil, pressure and temperature. Flow up here, check to make sure we're doing what we want, we're on the frequency we think we are, we're listening to what we think we're listening to. And then pressurization, that's all working. This altitude, yeah, this should be steady. Cabin should not be climbing anymore, and the differential should slowly be pumping up. And then over to your side and check the circuit breakers. And then you can come back up over the top, and this shouldn't have changed, but just do a quick check. That's all of our electrical systems, our generators, our avionics buses, all those things. So if that's all good, it's pretty hard for anything bad to be out of whack, and then you can come back and check it on the checklist. One of the things I actually really like about this airplane, I flew a Piper Cheyenne before it, which was a great airplane, but very, you know, 60s analog, kind of switches everywhere. Yeah. And this is a little more of a clean sheet, so all the de-ice is in one place, all the lights are in one place. It's a little easier to do that flow because it's not just scattered.
Yeah.
Since we're established in cruise, we started playing around with additional features in the ProFlight.
Okay, I'll get my noise canceling back on. Yeah, that is pretty effective, man.
It's amazing, isn't it? So there's actually 3 levels. If you're in a jet, you can crank it down to medium.
Right.
But in this, on high, it's really good. And so what you can do now is if you double tap on your left earbud, it'll open it. Yeah, that.
Just double tap it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Then you can hear him. So, you know, if a passenger comes up or a flight attendant, you can talk without taking the headset off.
I can hear you. That's cool. I was like, am I going to unplug it to hear it? That is cool. How did you know that? You been doing your homework?
You know, they say it's not as good on the ANR as an A20 just because it
can't be. I understand.
But I guess close. My biggest thing is, especially in this airplane, where you can fly really long legs. I mentioned these 5.5-hour legs from the West Coast. That's when you notice the side pressure.
Right.
And so that's what I really like about something light like this, is there's almost no side pressure.
27.077, 7 Juliet Zulu, so on. Cleveland Center, Pilatus 327 Juliet Zulu, 16,000. 327 Juliet Zulu, Cleveland Center, Erie altimeter 3022.
It was kind of surreal doing a departure out of there in this airplane, just thinking like, I kind of started my YouTube channel at that airport. One of my earliest videos that got a lot of traction was flying a friend of mine who had a fear of flying.
I remember that one, yeah.
I was landing 08. It was a beautiful night, but she just did not enjoy flying. I couldn't get her to get past it, and then she stressed me out so much, I just was like, yeah, this is not working. And the irony was that her fear caused a self-fulfilling prophecy where the safety was legit compromised because it distracted me.
Well, I think that's what everybody likes about you is any pilot that thinks they know it all is just kidding themselves, right? So
yeah, I don't need to be cool.
The idea that everybody's always learning, I mean, that's not a cliche, that is true. All right, well, we're going to start down here in a minute, so pressurization I'll set in a second. The altimeters we've got. Our briefing, it's pretty easy, it's IFR, so I'm expecting the visual for 6 left. Coming from the north here on like a left base, just land, and then we're going down here to gate 4 is customs.
7 Juliet Zulu, starting down. Roger.
Landing in Cleveland first to clear customs, and then we'll kind of take a look at this weather and see what we want to do.
Approach 327 Juliet Zulu, 12,000 for 6,000 with whiskey at Burke.
November 327 Juliet Zulu, Cleveland approach. Expect vector visual approach runway 6 left at lakefront.
Expect visual 6 left, 7 Juliet Zulu.
The goal in the turbine airplane is to go downhill as fast as you can without hitting the limit, so.
Right.
All right, this will be me turning off the autopilot.
Say again for 436, your steps on.
Couple white caps down there, you can tell it's blowing. Yeah. Be a rough day in a seaplane on Lake Erie, I think.
7 Juliet Zulu is on a midfield left downwind for 6 left.
Flight 7 Juliet Zulu, runway 6 left, 105020, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 6 left, 7 Juliet Zulu.
From the wheels. 3 green, no red, gears down. Lights are on, we're going to set approach flaps.
We'll land down there at Burke at about between 85 and 90 knots. So it's honestly on final, it's heavy, but it's a lot like flying a Cessna 182 in terms of speeds and everything.
All right, the flaps are set, the gear is down, the headlights are on, the yaw amp is off, we're cleared to land, checklist is complete.
500 above.
3 green, last check, gears down, we're cleared to land.
Wow, that lands slow. That's amazing.
After landing, got ground idle. ECS is off. We'll leave the transponder on. Probes are off. Strobes are off. Anti-ice is off. Headlights are where we want them. Flaps are at 15. Welcome to Cleveland. That's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there. That pyramid-looking thing.
So after a brief check-in with customs, we were airborne again on our way to the Sporty's home base. Weather wasn't as good there though. So huge thanks to Bose and Sporty's for hosting us on this one, and definitely thanks to all the rest of the sponsors and Patreon supporters for helping us create this content. Please visit flightshops.com to see the back catalog episodes, to join our mailing list, and see what our monthly giveaways are, and keep your flight shop sharp. JP just pointed out how clean this thing is. This is amazing. Never seen an old 172 this clean. But I think that's the best way to do your basic training. A super simple 6-pack, learn your basics, and then move up from there. At least that's the way I did it.